From the people who help you know your competition, IntelliCheck presents the Multi-Point Inspection Podcast. The Multi-Point Inspection Podcast brings you news and stories from the automotive world told in an informative and entertaining way.
In half a mile, keep left at the fork. Follow signs for I-40 West, Memphis.
It's a dreary-looking day in West Tennessee, and it looks colder than it is.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Tennessee 179 West.
Being the first week in November, the leaves are turning their colors. It's overcast and spitting rain, but it's a balmy 68 degrees. And that's Tennessee for you. One day you're in shorts, the next they are calling for snow. Traveling down Interstate 40 in West Tennessee, the exits for the towns in between the cities of Jackson and Memphis are surrounded by woods and farmland. This is part of the Mississippi Delta region, where cotton is king. Not much has changed in the way of development in these parts, with the exception of a soybean crop being rotated in one year. And oh yeah, a lot of people got into growing corn after they decided to put it in our gasoline, but that's about it. That is, until recently. Having grown up here, I'm very familiar with the billboards that line Interstate 40 as you travel west towards Memphis. A large amount of them are encouraging you to visit Graceland, the home of the king of rock and roll. But in 2022, Elvis Presley has some competition, at least as far as billboards go. For now, seemingly every billboard for the king is matched with a bank or real estate firm welcoming BlueOval City to the area. And just what is BlueOval City, you ask?
Back in 1913, Ford produced wooden wheels and the wooden body foundation for Model T Fords, where? Right here in Memphis, Tennessee on Union Avenue. So 108 years after they started here, they're back in Memphis, Tennessee. So welcome back home.
This is the Super Bowl.
This is all about Ford leading our whole industry into the future. For most of the last 100 years, it hasn't changed a lot. There have been a series of evolutions, but very few revolutions. This changes everything now.
We've really taken advantage of having a clean sheet of paper to deliver the most modern and advanced assembly plants ever in our history. We're taking advantage of our BlueOval Intelligence technology stack to connect the vehicle not only to the manufacturing process and all of the tooling and equipment, but also to the workforce.
On September 27th, 2021, Ford officially announced BlueOval City to the world, a $5.6 billion MegaCampus that will sit on 3,600 acres and will create around 6,000 jobs.
Today, we're announcing the largest investment in American manufacturing in the history of our company.
The MegaCampus will also house a battery manufacturing facility thanks to Ford's joint venture with SK On, a South Korean company.
Battery recycling helps in many ways. It utilizes batteries that are in people's junk drawers in addition to vehicles that are expiring. It will also help us work down the cost as we strive to make these vehicles more affordable for everyone.
Ford envisions the site to be a sustainable automotive manufacturing ecosystem. The site is located in Haywood County, Tennessee, near the town of Stanton, about 50 miles east of Memphis.
Just down Route 40 in Stanton, we're going to build the largest auto and battery manufacturing campus in the nation. And this is why we're here today, to launch a new era of sustainable American manufacturing, to build electric vehicles and the batteries that power them on a massive scale, right here in Tennessee and right here in the United States of America. We have to be bold, we have to go big.
Ford broke ground at the site in September of 2022 and plans to start vehicle production in the first quarter of 2025. So a little under 2 months after they broke ground, I decided to drive to the site to see what I could see. I knew it was early on in the project, but if the buzz on the ground was anything like the buzz in the air, I wanted to witness it for myself. and it was buzzing.
In 2 miles, take exit 42 for Tennessee 222 towards Stanton, Somerville.
The road was closed to through traffic, but I got close enough to catch a glimpse. I don't think I've ever seen as much heavy equipment in one place. The flat West Tennessee skyline was filled up with crane after crane after crane. You might remember from episode 1 of the Multi-Point Inspection podcast, Homegrowing Our Own Technicians, how Sarah of Jackson was taking proactive measures to combat the trend of tech shortages that is sweeping the nation.
We have started an apprentice program, and we partnered up with the TCAT here locally in Jackson. And we'll put them out on their own as a line technician, so kind of homegrowing our own technicians.
Well, it looks like BlueOval City has the same idea. Adjacent to BlueOval City's electric vehicle plant will be a new $40 million Tennessee College of Applied Technology, or TCAT, campus that will serve as Ford's primary training center and for its suppliers that will locate near the plant. IntelliCheck presents How Using Market Data Establishes a Busy and Profitable Service Department, Part 1. The auto service industry in the United States achieved a market value of more than $64 billion in 2021. It's big business to service, repair, and accessorize vehicles, and the forecast is for the industry to grow another 19% in the next 5 years. That's the good news. Unfortunately, car dealerships are only capturing 34% of that market share, according to the 2021 Cox Automotive Service Industry Study. Both trust and price are reasons why nearly 2/3 of car owners choose an independent repair shop over their selling franchise dealer. Data-driven solutions that cater to the customer will help consumers overcome the stigmas about having their vehicle serviced at your dealership. IntelliCheck's market data can help dealerships capture more of the service and repair market, boosting profitability and creating long-lasting relationships with customers in 4 areas. We'll cover one of those areas today. Fosters customer trust in the dealership. News stories pepper the internet recounting car owners who have been taken advantage of, oversold services, or overcharged for repairs and maintenance on their vehicle. These might be outliers, but they certainly don't help to dispel the entrenched idea that dealerships charge too much for the service they provide to customers. But when the data is factored in, that perception quickly changes. While car owners believe that the dealership charges around 50% more than an independent shop, the reality is that the pricing is much closer than that. Some services like oil and filter changes or alignments as loss leaders can often be less expensive at the franchise dealer. Across the full menu board, dealerships are actually only slightly higher in price on average, and virtually always within 15 to 20% of their independent competition. Demonstrating this market data to car owners will quite literally surprise them. Picture a purchaser who's being introduced to the service department when they take delivery of a new vehicle, and seeing comparisons between local chains and their dealers' pricing that are negligibly different. There's no argument that dealers are better equipped to work on the vehicle, and seeing the market data shows that the dealership doesn't have anything to hide for their service pricing. Openly comparing their pricing with others, whether it's the lowest or not, that goes a long way to develop trust with the customer. Be sure to listen to the next episode of the Multi-Point Inspection podcast from IntelliCheck to learn more about how using market data will lead to a busy and profitable service department. I know it can be difficult to appreciate just how large BlueOval City will be, especially in audio form. But Kyle Spurgeon with the Greater Jackson Chamber in Jackson, Tennessee, wants to help with that.
It's difficult to understand and visualize what 10 to 12 million square feet is, and that's what Ford and SK are building at the MegaSite. We took a group to Greenville, South Carolina. When I say a group, it was 25 people from Jackson, 8 others from around West Tennessee, We went to Greenville to learn what they did from a community development perspective over the last 30 years to build what is really the biggest community development success story in the country. As part of that trip, we went to visit and toured BMW in Spartanburg. So here are some numbers. BMW has been in Spartanburg 30 years. I think they'll celebrate their 30th anniversary next year. 7 million square feet now. Ford SK first phase is 10 to 12 million square feet. 11,000 employees at BMW in Spartanburg. Ford SK will start with 5,800. All that sits on 700 acres in South Carolina, and we're looking at 3,500 acres here. Another thing is that all the automotive facilities, the OEMs that exist in Tennessee, you take Volkswagen, Nissan, and then go over to Spring Hill with General Motors. All of those could fit on the MegaSite with hundreds of acres left over. That doesn't do it all justice, but it just kind of helps you understand the scale of what we're talking about.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is.
At 3,600 acres, it's the same size as 2,700 football fields. Yeah, you heard that right. And will cost $5.6 billion.
The demand for Ford electric vehicles is off the charts after the smash hit release of the Mach-E, Transit EV, and F-150 Lightning. In August 2022, Ford reported a 307% growth in sales compared to its 2021 figures.
The important thing is to set up the company so we have the scaling capacity to 2 million in the next 4 years. 2 million is a really aggressive number for us. That is a heck of a scaling. That we have 60 assembly plants in the world. Just think about what changes just the assembly side will go through.
It appears that Ford wants to give Tesla a run for its money when it comes to electric vehicles. And while bigger doesn't always mean better, it seems that Ford is looking to do both.
Ford's new $5.6 billion MegaCampus, BlueOval City, capable of rivaling Tesla's Gigafactory. It will be the company's largest, most advanced, and most efficient auto production plant ever. It will be a vertically integrated ecosystem with key suppliers, worker training facilities, battery manufacturing, and even a battery recycling factory on site.
And while it was always just assumed that it was the Ford Lightning that would be produced at BlueOval City,
the first is called BlueOval City in Tennessee and will predominantly focus on the F-150 Lightning production.
Kyle Spurgeon at the Greater Jackson Chamber says not so fast.
You'll have a Ford manufacturing facility there which will produce the chassis and the vehicles for whichever vehicle that's going to be. It's yet to be announced. Specifically about Ford, a lot of us thought, and I was involved in the project and thought this was the case, that it's the new F-150 Lightning, that they will move production. It's a yet to be announced new Ford F-Series truck that'll be produced there. So Ford has not released that, and I'm sure that'll be a big public announcement whenever that happens, but none of us involved in the project actually know what that is at this point. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And then there's what this means for the economy of West Tennessee.
It's expected to create over 6,000 skilled jobs and provide a huge boost for the local economy.
Memphis is going to be a big winner. The suburbs of Memphis are going to be a big winner. Madison County and Jackson are going to be a big winner, but all the little communities in and around West Tennessee are going to benefit as well.
We know that for every one direct job that's created through the automotive industry, another 4 to 5 are created. And I know that Memphis is going to be really well positioned to benefit from that.
We're going to be the epicenter for electric vehicle manufacturing in the entire world. It's going to change our destiny forever.
About 25 minutes away from BlueOval City sits Brownsville, Tennessee.
Hello. Hey. Can I help you? I hope so. Hey, good. How are you? I'm from Jackson.
With a population of around 10,000 people, it is largely known for being the hometown of blues legend Sleepy John Estes and home of the childhood school of Tina Turner, often referred to as the Queen of Rock and Roll. I'm at the Chamber of Commerce, where people are not just excited about Ford coming to town, but also for the reopening of their hospital after it shut its doors years ago.
Fitzgerald Man.
Okay.
And I'm part of the marketing committee for the Joint Economic Community Development Board.
The hospital growth is going to do something that has not happened here in many years, because we lost the hospital about 14 years ago when it closed, and having it reopen, the local community has a place that they can go, and our community can go to receive level 1 care instead of having to travel to Jackson, Memphis to get emergency care. One of the things that businesses look for when they come to a new community is a hospital, and having that hospital soon to be fully open is a great multiplier. And then the other thing, it instills confidence in the community that, hey, we're invested in our own, and that's very important. So we'll be fully open well before the 2024-25 opening of Ford.
We're ready.
Okay.
The last stop on my trip was Livingston Soda Fountain and Grill in Brownsville's Town Square, owned by Jack and Glenda Pettigrew.
Oh, wow. Hey, good. How are you? Yes. Let's do it, buddy. Want it?
Well, as growing up as a young child, my father had a pharmacy that had the soda fountain. They took it out in the 60s, and so I just kind of always wanted to bring it back. Brownsville was dying. I mean, we literally, nothing was coming in. We couldn't keep young professionals here. And so when I retired as a hobby, I thought this would be a fun thing to do. So to renovate it, got opened, well, about the 1st of April of this year. So we've been open about 8 months.
Livingston's already had 5 Brownsville-themed milkshakes, including the Nutbush City Limit Shake honoring Tina Turner. And they've recently added one more that was inspired by Ford's upcoming MegaSite that's being constructed just down the road.
We were doing the soda fountain thing with the specialty milkshakes that my wife had developed. And they were all centered around Brownsville. The Delta Dawn, that song you may have heard.
Oh, yeah.
The Nutbush City Limit, and so forth. Well, one day there were a couple of Ford guys in here. We had met them and they were coming pretty regular. And so they were asking, why is this one called the Delta Dawn? They didn't know any of the history. Of course, we were standing here talking about it, explained to them, and one of the servers said, well, why don't we do one for BlueOval City? And one of the gentlemen said, well, that'd be fine. I said, well, we want to get somebody's okay.
Yeah.
So he said, let me get HR to contact you. So about 2 days later, a gentleman from HR contacted us, said, great, go for it. And we said, well, we're going to do 2 or 3 different varieties and let y'all pick the one you want. He said, no, you just come up with something and let us know what it is. So my wife stewed for about a week trying to come up with something blue, because ice cream's kind of yellow, and you put blue food color and it comes out great. Anyway, she finally hit on birthday cake ice cream. It had little flecks of colors, and blue was one of the predominant colors. And she said, how cool is that? Birthday cake ice cream for the birth of BlueOval City.
Sundress swaying in the breeze. I can't stop staring.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I will check on you too.
Very nice to meet you. We haven't
We
ordered
ain't ordered
yet.
yet?
We haven't decided yet.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No. Good.
I'll send her back out here so you can order.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Go to IntelliCheck.com to see pics of the construction site, as well as the BlueOval City Shake. The Multi-Point Inspection Podcast would like to thank the Chambers of Commerce in Jackson and Brownsville, Tennessee, and Livingston Soda Fountain and Grill for the delicious meal. Executive producer for the Multi-Point Inspection Podcast is David Swan. It is written, produced, and narrated by me, Brandon Barnett.
Let's not waste time, we'll take this slow. We've got miles behind us, but miles to go. So let's just break this down to the simplest truth. You and I as one will always be better than two.
This episode's featured music is by Visitants, Better Than Two. IntelliCheck, know your competition.
And I'm taking, darling, would you be mine?